In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing episode 1 of Hawkeye, Never Meet Your Heroes. Now, we start off with the Battle of New York in 2012. We are introduced to Kate Bishop, and she witnesses Clinton Barton basically saving her life, but not on purpose. So she sees him from a distance, and then we go fast forward and we find out during the opening credit scene that she is a successful archer. She does fencing, she does gymnastics. All the while she does this, she wants to be like Hawkeye. And then in the present day, we see that Clinton Barton is still feeling the effects of Infinity War and Endgame, and how the PTSD, you can tell, is set in for him. He's at a Avengers musical with his kids celebrating Christmas in New York City, and then he just, sees everything happening, and it's actually a funny scene. It's actually a really comical scene. An Avengers musical is just out of the ordinary, really, really weird, but it's funny. And then over the course of this scene, they're introducing each Avenger, and then they introduce Black Widow, and all of a sudden he gets that memory of what happened to Natasha, for the Soul Stone. So that sets in, he leaves, and then he goes out to get some fresh air. And then after that, the next scene, we find that Kate Bishop is attending a charity ball with her mother, Eleanor. Eleanor is played by Vera Farmiga, and she does an amazing job in the mother role in this. She's really, really good. She really is on par with the mother-daughter aspect that Haley Steinfeld gives off as the daughter to Eleanor's. It's just really, really fun. And she learns that her mother is engaged to Jack Duquesne. And Jack Duquesne is like the prominent, rich family in New York City. And his uncle is Armand Duquesne III. So she doesn't take a liking to that her mother is engaged to Jack. So basically, we find that, Armand, kind of yells at Eleanor for some reason, and Kate Bishop goes to investigate. And when she goes to investigate, she goes to a wine cellar. And in this wine cellar, we see Armand, we see Jack, uncle and nephew, and they're bidding on things on the black market. And the one thing they want to bid for is the Ronin sword that Ronin used in Avengers Endgame. And then we find that with this sword, we have the Ronin suit. As all this is happening, an explosion happens, and the tracksuit mafia come in and, start taking items from the black market. And they want this one thing. They want this one watch for some ungodly reason. But I'm pretty sure if you really pay attention to all the, Marvel movies, then you know why they want this watch. So basically, in order for Kate Bishop to get out of this situation, she puts on the Ronin costume and fights the tracksuit mafia. As she fights the tracksuit mafia, she escapes. So while all this happened and all these events occurred at this charity gala, Clint comes home with his kids from the outing of the day, and he finds that on the news that someone is put on the Ronin costume, is trying to pretend to be Ronin. So then Kate Bishop finds that, she doesn't like how Jack or Armand work, so she goes to Armand's place, and she finds Armand Duquesne III dead. So she escapes again, and then she all of a sudden is ambushed by the tracksuit mafia. She's getting the shit kicked out of her, but then all of a sudden Kate Bishop switches the tables, and then she starts kicking the shit out of them. She locks herself in a car, and all of a sudden Clint Barton shows up and saves the day. All the while this is going on, she pulls her into an alley and wants to find out what's happening. Who is it? And then she's surprised that it's Hawkeye. He's surprised that it's just a little young teenager. And that's the end of the episode. It's a really quick moving episode. It's really fun, and we get a lot of answers in just this first episode. We are introduced to Kate Bishop perfectly. She's really well trained, like I said, in archery and gymnastics and fencing. And we know that the mother is rich because she has a security system firm. And then Clinton Barton is trying to come away from the events of what happened in Avengers Endgame and trying to move on, but he can't because his past is just right behind him. And it's always trying to creep up on him. And then, of course, once you're introduced to Jack Duquesne, then you know he's the villain of this show. But then I feel like someone else above him is running the show. I don't know who. I'm pretty sure it's someone bigger who runs New York City, and I'm pretty sure we know who that is, if you've heard the rumors of who's going to appear in this series. From the start, I absolutely love how this show is done. I love the writing. I love the script. I love the acting. And seeing all these big name stars in this is really good. Vera Farmiga in a Marvel show, great. Haley Steinfeld, finally introduced as Kate Bishop in Marvel, is great. And of course, Jeremy Renner, I feel like, is the supporting role in this, even though it is his show. It's titled Hawkeye. I feel like he's going to give the reins to her at the end of this series. He's going to retire, and then Kate Bishop takes the mantle of Hawkeye, which she kind of does in the comics. Now, from here on, we don't know what's going to happen. And Disney Plus released a 2-episode premiere of Hawkeye on November 24th, 2021. So, I mean, anything is possible with this, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this series. So let me know in the comment section below what you thought about episode 1 of Hawkeye, Never Meet Your Heroes. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? And where do you see this show going? And who do you think is the real bad guy in this series? And where do you see Kate Bishop and Clint going from here? Do you see Clint retiring at the end of this series and Bishop taking on the mantle of Hawkeye as the new Hawkeye? I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of her in other Marvel shows, and maybe even she comes into one of the Marvel movies. We don't know. We never know. But we have to wait and see to find out. So let me know in the comment section below about the questions I just asked. And I'll see you guys in the next review video. And be sure you click this box right here, because it's my episode 2 review of Hawkeye titled Hide and Seek.